look at. But since Flash is a little slow this morning, we're going to look at Zoe for a while we wait for Flash to come down. And most of the talking will be about Flash. You. Let's get you some good birthday girl pictures. Why don't you come stand next to me over here? There we go. And Zoe. Look up, baby. Zoe.
You want a piece of spinach, John?
Yeah. Zoe.
What can you tell me about her eyes? They look so interesting.
Awesome.
So their eyes have a structure called rod monochromacy, which means that they have all rod cells, no cone cells. Would you like to give her a piece of salad? Go ahead, just put it to her mouth. She just ate her breakfast. She's probably not terribly hungry right now. I'm going to put it right to her mouth, though. Like that. Just let her have it. Here's some other ones you can give her. So their eyes have a structure called rod monochromacy, which means they have all rod cells, no cone cells. So they always see grayscale. They have no color vision, but their vision is straight up horrible all of the time.
Really?
They don't ever see in color, obviously, but they also just see plain poorly. So even if it's pinpricks where her pupils are at night, those will open wide up in the pitch dark. Those will open up big. So in light like this, she's seeing just shapes and shadows, but even at nighttime, their vision is awful.
Yeah.
So their primary senses are smell and hearing.
So,
Yeah, that's how big her ears are.
Wow! Oh my goodness! That's so cool. I didn't know.
Yeah, they're just covered with hair is all. But they have ears just like we have ears, and they hear very, very well. If you stand on this side, you probably eat the leaves from here.
Yeah.
There you go. It's like, oh, no.
So, are you like her primary caregiver? It looks like you guys are awfully close.
My wife is her person.
Okay.
But she sees me and Kevin and Tatum every day. So she'll sit on anybody's lap. She's fine with that. But the person who she hung around her neck for 8 hours a day for nearly a year was my wife. And that is why my wife doesn't do the encounters, is when you sign up for her encounter, you're holding her. And she won't go to anybody else who found us down here. She'll just be like, no, my person is here. But she is friendly to everybody. She just is more friendly to my wife. You know how big their feet are? Look how big her feet are there, right? So she still is a baby. So see, she has little baby claws. Probably Flash will be down here to see us pretty soon. He has great big claws. So see, even her front claws are real small, right?
Is she a
See,
three-toed?
she's two-toed, you know? So see how
She has
long her
3
claw
on
is
the
and see
back.
how big her hand is, right? So when Flash comes down here in a little bit, you'll see he has great big giant claws. She still has little baby claws because she's only 13 months old. And it'll take her until she's about 3 to have her big claws like Flash has. But then those claws are pretty interesting because they're like channel lock pliers, kind of, that they can grip onto a wide variety of sizes of things. Because the leather part of her hand, like all this that's leather, it feels exactly like a monkey's paws. You might not have ever felt a monkey's paws, but that's exactly, you can feel this one. Feel the leather part there. You can touch it with your finger, the back side, underneath that.
You want to feel Charlotte?
Yeah, you can feel it right there. If you felt a monkey, that's exactly what their the paws feel. So, hey, she doesn't really like her feet messed with a whole lot, but sweetheart, just calm yourself.
How do you acquire a sloth? I mean, was this like a rescue thing, or
No, we're not a rescue.
Yeah.
No, we pay tens of thousands of dollars for these animals.
you
So,
know how expensive?
Yeah.
And round the clock care. She's always like, "Can I get a sloth?"
Fire one.
Yeah, so we usually start and end all of our encounters that we have alive going with, don't ever buy a sloth.
Yeah.
It is legal to buy a sloth, but it is amoral, reprehensible, bad idea. you make a huge financial investment for an animal that's going to die. Basic rule of thumb, if you paid less for your sloth than you paid for your car, you bought an animal that was kidnapped out of the rainforest.
Yeah.
And animals that were kidnapped out of the rainforest are not long for this world. When you read like Sloth Conservancy or different organizations, they'll tell you that it is always stressful to a sloth to be held. It's always stressful for them to be petted. It messes up the biome in their fur when you pet them. With a wild-caught sloth, I completely agree with every single one of those statements. But we are not dealing with wild-caught sloths here. These are multiple generation captive bred sloths. The guy that we get babies from has been in sloth conservation and sloth breeding for about 30 years now. And to get the ones that you can hold like this, he has a really genius system. His mother animals are clicker trained, so click, 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 I'm going to take your baby, but it'll be right back. So it doesn't stress the mothers, and therefore it doesn't stress the babies. And so from day 14 of their life, they're being directly held by people every single day. So it's normal to them for all their life to be held by people, and their very favorite thing is to hang around your neck. She was a little antsy this morning because she doesn't really like her feet being messed with, but you know, when's a little kid ever going to get to feel a sloth feet again, right?
Right.
So we'll go ahead and do a couple things if they're like that. Yeah, absolutely, you can pet her, yep. But sloths like to be petted slow, like the speed of a sloth, like this, yeah. And they like to be petted just on the back, not on the front. And, but they like everything to be at the speed of a sloth.
I can't believe that there are ears in there. It's so loud.
Yeah,
I
right.
thought they never had ears.
Yeah, well now you learned something new today.
Well, if you just saw a picture of your mom, you wouldn't know she had ears
Yeah.
either, right? Man, or your sister.
Do they shed? Is this hair?
They don't go through a shed like a dog does, so dogs shed their hair, you know, change of season, and the season never changes for a sloth. So that's another thing about keeping a sloth is you have to have a significant space like this that is 80 degrees and 50% relative humidity all of the time. You let your sloth get cold, it'll die. So they don't control their body temperature the way the other warm-blooded animals do. So in the rainforest, that's not a problem for them. Daytime high in the rainforest is mid-80s, nighttime low is upper 60s, and their core body temperature will make a range of temperatures like that every single day. But where you take them out of the rainforest, if a sloth gets down to about 55 degrees, it will kill the moths that live on the outside of the sloth in the wild, not captive sloths. And when the moths die, it also kills off the bacteria colony that's all the way through the sloth. And 30 days later, the sloth will die of starvation. So you can't ever let a sloth get cold. And beyond the being a morally wrong thing to do, taking a wild animal out of the rainforest to try to keep it for a pet, the 1 week health guarantee that these places that sell wild-caught sloths give you isn't going to do jack for you a month later when your sloth starves to death because its bacteria colony was killed off.
Right.
So in the wild, they have bacteria. So and when flash comes down, we'll talk a lot more about sloths and moths and moss. But the bacteria that helps a sloth to digest its food comes from the waste of the moths. So we also have helpful gut bacteria, and our gut bacteria lasts for all of our lives, and we never think one thing about it unless we took a long course of antibiotics. And that would kill off our gut bacteria, and we would need to get either some probiotics or some good Greek yogurt to fix our gut health back up if we took, you know, a lot of antibiotics. For a sloth, what kills their gut bacteria is cold-blooded. And so if the sloth gets too cold, it literally will die because it is more reliant on the bacteria in their guts than we are on the bacteria in our guts. If we kill off our gut bacteria, you know, the worst is going to happen to us. We're going to have diarrhea for a while, but, you know, we'll go to a doctor and they'll fix us. The sloth in the rainforest doesn't have a doctor, doesn't have GNC, doesn't have Publix. He's pretty well out of luck. So that's why in the wild, a sloth will have around 150 moths living in their fur all of the time. And captive sloths don't need the moths because we just don't ever let them get cold.
Yeah. How,
If you
what's
had to
their
have
life-
150 moths living on a sloth's fur all the time, I don't think anybody would keep a sloth.
Yeah.
Not me for sure.
Right.
Hey, I think that she might need to get up there and let him sniff a banana. That extendo ladder is outside of the door. It's in his outside part.
Oh,
Yeah, I set it out the other door the other day. She's probably just wondering where in the heck it is.
So what is the life expectancy of a wild sloth, versus a captive sloth?
So if wild sloth, it's theoretical. It's about 20 years that they think a sloth lives in the wild. But what is going to kill a sloth in the wild is a predator.
Yeah.
They're not ever going to die of old age in the wild. They're going to die of being caught by a predator. In captivity, if you have a wild caught sloth, and before I knew any better, I went to the sloth it's in Honduras. Is it not outside the door?
I think they're coming down. She put it on.
Oh, okay, all right. I lost my train. 20 years in the wild, but they never die of old age, die of being caught by a predator. In captivity, they don't face the threats that they face in the wild. So in captivity, sloths are known to live 50 years.
That's incredible.
Yeah, the Smithsonian Museum had one that was 49. There was one in Germany that was 53. There's another one, I think that's currently still alive, that's 54.
Wow.
Both of the sloth breeders that I'm pretty well familiar with have female sloths that are over 35 years old and still reproducing. And nobody can say for sure that it's true of a sloth, but with just about every other large mammal, females don't reproduce in the last half to third of their life.
Yeah.
So that would indicate those sloths could still live quite a while yet if they're 35 and still reproductive. Now, if you read some of the things that, they're putting out an awful lot of information that some of it is erroneous, some of it is correct, and some of it is intentionally deceptive. But I don't disagree with the purpose for which they say it. They're trying to combat the trade of wild sloths. So they say, blanket statements like sloths are always stressed to be inhaled, it's always harmful, blah, blah, blah. And they also will tell you that a wild caught sloth is only that a captive sloth is only going to live, weeks or months, and that they're going to die of stress. With wild caught sloths, I agree with that. But with captive bred sloths, it's a proven fact that they live to be, much, much older than they do in the wild. And you're seeing this sloth, and you can obviously see that she is not stressed out by it.
No.
So
She looks very cozy.
yes, they are very cozy. So and I said, some is erroneous, and some is intentionally wrong. But like they are doing all they can to combat the trade of wild caught animals. So I don't even publicly disagree with them about the things that they say, because they say it with good intent, just trying to keep, you could watch what we're doing here and get the idea that it's a good idea to go out and buy yourself a sloth. And it's possible. You could get yourself a sloth. But but you're going to spend a whole bunch of money to have an animal that's not going to have a long life.
Yeah.
And you're never going to have a wild sloth that is going to interact with you like this.
But that's okay, because families like this exist that have all of these wonderful animals that we get to come and see.
On the other side, you could grow up to be a zookeeper.
Well, and we are a federally licensed facility.
Mm-hmm.
We are essentially a zoo, but we don't call ourselves a zoo because zoos are places you go and you see animals at a distance.
Mm-hmm.
That in that enclosure somewhere there is an X, Y, or Z, and maybe you'll see it, maybe you won't. But all you're going to do is see it. Here, all of our animals are see them, touch them, pet them, hold them, interact with them, and genuinely experience the animal for what the animal is.
Yeah.
Not, see that there's an animal in there somewhere. So that's why we don't hold ourselves out to be a zoo and don't really want to be called a zoo.
Yeah.
But on the opposite side of that, some people call us, a backyard breeder. Well, we are in my backyard, but this is a several $1 million facility where we have animals that are cared for extraordinarily well. and we are a federally licensed facility. So it's not just that, you know, my family started finding a menagerie of animals as
Right.
amateurs. So for our young lady here who would like to buy a sloth, if you wanted to have a sloth, what you would need is years of research and a whole lot of investment into places you can keep a sloth 80 degrees and 50% relative humidity all the time, and enough time to spend 2 or 3 hours every day with every sloth. And you know, still be able to have a job and feed your family and all that kind of stuff. So not saying it's impossible, but it would be a long-term goal, not a daddy can I have a sloth.
Yeah. It's not like getting a kitten.
So she's calmed down a little bit now. If you want to stand over here and pet her, you're welcome to. Stand on this side and be closer to her, and Mom will probably get some pretty good birthday pictures for you. And I think Flash is just about down. You say to her, zo, 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 zo. She'll put her nose over by your nose. Say, zo, zo, zo. Zo, zo, zo. And put her just a little bit slower. There you go. Oh, good girl, Zoe. What a good girl you are.
I'm surprised at how soft her fur was. I mean,
It's soft, but it looks like it would be coarse and wiry, doesn't it? That's where you guys in from today?
we live in Alcoa, right outside Knoxville.
Oh, okay, cool. You're up there by the underwater lake cave thing?
Yeah. The
That's
Lost Sea.
Sweetwater.
Yeah, that's Sweetwater, but it's
Lost
close.
in it, yeah.
When's Flash gonna be ready?
I don't know, when that door opens, we'll know that he came down. But we interact with all of our animals and on the level that they're comfortable with. If he doesn't come down, we'll just play with her today.
So,
But
tell us
I
about
think
the
he'll be down.
farm, when y'all started, how long you've been doing it, and how you got into it.
Well, I moved here in 2019, and my plan was to be retired, but the Lord had different plans for my life. And the only structures that were here when we moved here was the house and the cabin down at the river. And the cabin was supposed to be my daughter's house, but she's a professional musician who can't be bothered to live anywhere. And she said, Dad, you should just put it on Airbnb. And I'm like, Air what? And she says, B&B. I'm like, no. And she says, well, why not? I'm like, because I'm not cooking anybody any breakfast. And so she explained to us how that worked. And my wife was kind of, she's a night owl. She does everything at, you know, midnight, 3 in the morning. You may have got emails from her in the middle of the night. And she was looking at Airbnb's website one night. And, you know, you have to, like, answer every question to see the next page. And at one point she got tired and she just hit save. And figured she'd come back next month, next whatever, if she ever felt like it. And the next morning I woke up to 10 emails that said, so-and-so booked your place instantly. So-and-so booked your place instantly. So-and-so booked your place instantly.
That's exciting.
And I said, Donna, who's booking our place? We don't have a place. And she's like, oh dear. I didn't realize that I had made the listing live on Airbnb. And then we were in the Airbnb business. And we had horses and kayaks and stuff here. And people would be like, hey, can we ride your horse? And I'd be like, yeah, sure. And they'd be like, hey, can we use your kayak? Yeah, sure, go ahead. And from there, just, you know, one thing led to another. All from, you know, I was living here with horses and my dog to we have an exotic animal barn. And basically we are what we are because of what guests we're most interested in.
Oh, that's cool.
And the goals of this business are, number one, to glorify the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ in everything we do and everything we say. Number two, to make a quiet and unique place where people can make memories with their own family, doing things that you can't do anywhere else.
It's like we're doing today.
Number three, to provide exceptional care for all of our animals, which we view all of them as our family members more than our display is. I'm going to put her away, and we're going to go ahead and talk about Flash now.
Let's not reach up until he tells us that it's okay.
Yeah, wait just a minute.
I know, it's so exciting. You guys are doing so great, being so
Yeah,
calm.
that's just like the pictures you draw over and over again.
It is.
They just have horrible vision. So
wait on the fingers because he can't tell the difference between a finger and a food.
Alright guys, let me give you the basic rules of this game. I'm going to let this chair sit right here so our birthday girl will be able to stand on it so she can reach better. So
Don't touch it. Just wait.
today while we do this sloth encounter, you are going to feed Flash his breakfast while I teach you some things about sloths that you likely don't know.
Yay. When were they
Alright.
full grown, or is Zoe just much smaller than Flash?
She's only a year old.
So she'll continue
Oh
growing.
yeah. So size-wise, she's just about as big as she's gonna get. But look at the claws on this guy compared to the claws on her. So her claws are gonna get a whole lot bigger, and her hair's gonna get longer and probably lighter colored, and she'll just become more robust, like an adult instead of a child. All right, guys. So when you feed Splash his breakfast, his vision is horrible. All right. He genuinely can't see the difference between this and this. So this you put in his mouth. This you don't put in his mouth. So don't put this in his mouth, don't put it in my mouth. Either one of us might bite you if you stick your fingers in our mouth, alright? So when you feed Flash his breakfast, you just give it to him like this. And he's going to enjoy his breakfast while I talk to you guys about sloths. And he just came out, so if you hold it down a little lower, he's going to hang down all the way down. And I'm going to show you one thing about the way that he moves before you start feeding him his breakfast. So this sloth, and we're going to talk about this in a minute, he's two-toed, which is like a slinky. So watch how far this sloth can turn himself around, all right?
Oh my goodness.
Flash, come here, bub. Oh, you're not turning, you're drawing up. Come here, bub, turn. There we go, there we go. Well, he's just grabbing it today. But the sloth can turn until his hips and his shoulders are basically 180 degrees from each other.
Wow.
So, and you guys are going to be welcome to feed him his breakfast. You can stand approximately this close to the sloth to take a picture with him. If you want to stand on a chair and your mom stand on the other side, you're welcome to do that.
Hop up here.
And so if you want to step up here, if you guys are trying to get a family photo, Kevin will be happy to be your photographer for you. Just go ahead and stand up, sweetheart, so you get right up there by him. There you go.
Hannah, do you want to feed him a bite?
Mom, do you want to come on this side? There you go. Give him a bite of food.
Good job, Hannah.
Once you guys all get in there nice and tight and close, and
Let me
we'll
take about that one, sir. Yeah.
get some pictures for you here. So let me
Hello.
turn just a little bit here, because it's hard to get in. Make sure if you're not facing that way a little bit. There you go. All right. Hey, Flash. Hey, buddy. Here, bub.
Everybody's smiling. We got a couple hundred.
Good.
Hi. You are so handsome.
All right, now I don't want to leave you just hanging in the middle of the room because I don't want you to slip and fall down, all right? And you might want to just make sure that she doesn't fall off of that chair for me if you would.
Okay.
And you guys are welcome to feed him his breakfast, and I'm going to tell you guys about sloths, all right? So sloths, alive in the world today, there are two-fingered sloths and three-fingered sloths. They have historically called them two-toed and three-toed, but they're starting to call them two-fingered and three-fingered because they all have three toes on the back. But on the front, which is more like their hands, they have two fingers or three fingers.
Okay.
Other differences between two and three-fingered sloths. A two-fingered sloth has fewer vertebrae in their cervical spine between their skull and their shoulders. A three-fingered has more. So a three-fingered sloth is going to turn its head 270 around like an owl would. The three-fingered sloth also has three vertebrae of a tail. The two-fingered sloth has no tail. But they have the same number of vertebrae from end to end, so with fewer in the neck and no tail, that means that the two-fingered has more vertebrae from its hips to its shoulders, and that's where I was showing you that he can turn until his hips and his shoulders are basically 180 out from each other. So the two-fingered sloth is going to turn more like, or he's going to move his body more like a slinky, and a three-fingered sloth is going to move his body more like, his head more like an owl. The two-finger, let me get this tortoise out of your way a little bit here. The two-fingered sloth is somewhat bigger and somewhat quicker than a three-fingered sloth is. A two-fingered sloth, this guy, when he comes down the tree this morning, he was slow about it. Usually when we open the door and say, hey, Flash, don't feed him off the floor, just let it lay there. He's going to come scurrying right down the tree, and if you his environment in there, you can see goes 20-some feet up, and he can come from the very top of it down to where we are.
Oh, sorry, buddy.
Normally in about 30 seconds. What are you doing there, Fiona? Oh, sorry, baby. So we see him regularly move at maybe 40 feet per minute, which is faster than what it would tell you once online that a sloth can move. If he grabs it with his hand, he's just going to drop it. Yeah, just put it to his mouth. His hands are better for grabbing a branch and pulling the whole branch to his face and then biting the leaves off of the branch than for really grabbing something as small as a piece of a veggie. So, so the sloths are slow. Sloths are famously slow. But sloths are slow in ways that you don't think about a sloth being slow. So they're slow not only in their movement, they're slow in their digestion, and you don't have to give it to them like a fire hose. You can just give it to them, like when you eat your cereal, you kind of take a pause between bites.
So give him a break. Let him finish chewing before we do it.
Let him chew up one before you give him another one. So they're slow in their movement, their digestion, their metabolism, their metabolic processes. They're slow in every way that an animal can be slow. So slow in their digestion. The first studies on how slowly a sloth digests its food, they put some tiny glass beads into some sloth food and waited to see how long it took them to come out. And that was 61 to 64 days. So no one seriously believes that anymore, but that was the first theory. Now it just seems that glass beads don't move through a sloth's digestive tract the way the food does. The next study, they put some durable dyes onto some various food types and waited to see how long it took the colors to come through. And that worked out to be more in the 18 to 30 days time frame. So, and when he runs out of food, he's not going to be nearly as interested in us. Because when his belly gets full, he just wants to go to sleep. So, these days they would tell you it's 18 to 30 days based primarily on what it is that the sloth is eating. So in the wild, a sloth is eating almost entirely leaves. Here his diet is about 75% leaves, 25% this.
What kind of leaves?
So just mainly spinach leaves here. In the wild, whatever trees are out there. We don't feed them a whole lot of native tree leaves from here. Just, it's not what's in the rainforest. I mean, they don't have oak trees and maple trees and such in the rainforest. But the sloth digests his food very, very slowly, but he eats tremendously much of it. So he eats 10% of his body weight every single day.
How much does he weigh?
He weighs 15 pounds.
Wow.
So when you put that to human perspectives, my after the holidays weight is nearly 200 pounds. So that would be like me eating 20 16-ounce porterhouse steaks every single day. Obviously that couldn't work, or that might work out to what, about 50 hamburgers?
Yeah.
I can't eat 50 hamburgers in a day, much less every day.
Yeah.
So, even though he eats a tremendous amount of food, and if you look how slender this guy is right now, that's because he just went to the bathroom. So see how he's all thin through the hips and such down there? His belly's empty right now. So, because he just went to the bathroom. But he only goes to the bathroom 3 or 4 times a month. So, once every 7 to 10 days. So, suppose that he ate 10% of his body weight every day for 10 days before he went to the bathroom. That would mean he has eaten 100% of his body weight since he last went to the bathroom.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, right?
Wow.
So he does metabolize very slowly, but he metabolizes very thoroughly. It's just that the food that he's eating is very low quality, very low nutritional value, particularly in the rainforest where he gets nothing but leaves, pretty much, unless, by luck he comes up on something. But, so when he does go to the bathroom, which that's solid and liquid at the same time, he doesn't even tinkle between trips down the tree, When he does go to the bathroom, he is going to lose about 1/3 of his natural body mass when he goes to the bathroom. So if he has eaten 100% of his weight and he eliminates 1/3, that means he did metabolize, as in convert from food to energy, 2/3 of what he ate. But even so, if I was to eliminate 1/3 of my natural body weight, take 200 divided by 3 and visualize that pile,
You want me to do the
and then
shower
we'll
one?
move on to something more pleasant to talk about. That would be epic, right?
Yeah.
So, rebuilding some plumbing systems. So, very slowly but very thoroughly. When the sloth is in the top of the tree, he is entirely safe from every type of predators with the exception of eagles. The only predator that can get to him in the top of a tree is an eagle. So when the, just let it be, the tortoise will bag clean up on that. So when the sloth goes to the bathroom, he does come all the way down the tree, same side of the tree every single time. And he is going to go to the bathroom in the exact same place that he always goes. So over time they have developed some different theories about why that is the case. The first theory was they're just neat animals. Obviously from a survival standpoint, that makes no sense whatsoever. For an animal to risk his life because he's just a neat animal makes no sense. So then the next theory was that the sloth is fertilizing his own tree. Again, that makes no sense. If the sloth is anywhere in the tree, when he relieves himself, no matter where it lands under the canopy of the tree, that tree is going to absorb those nutrients. So again, that makes no sense. So the newest understanding is that when the sloth comes down the tree, the reason for that is the sloth-moth symbiotic relationship, which we talked about that a little bit earlier while we were just waiting for him to come down. But let me explain to you the nature of the symbiosis of sloths and moths. So do either of you young ladies know the difference between symbiotic and parasitic? Those are some big words, right? All right, so parasitic means a relationship that is beneficial to one part of the relationship, but neutral or harmful to the other side. That's like if you had a tapeworm. It's good for the tapeworm, bad for you. Symbiotic means it's good for both sides of the equation. So a famous symbiotic relationship would be like sharks and remoras. So the remora gets its food and the shark gets clean. Hey, buddy boy. Yeah, are you waiting for the treat food? You ate your veggies, now you want your treat? Is that the deal? So you'll see that this sloth is entirely comfortable with me, obviously. I am his person. I have been with this sloth individually like this for probably an hour a day for over 3 years now. And yet I have never held this sloth because we interact with our animals on their terms. And obviously if he wanted to climb onto me, he has the full opportunity. But he's never made any move to move on to me. I would like it if he did. Yeah. But he's never made any move to move on to me, so that means he's not comfortable with it, and that is okay. So, and the reason for that is this sloth was not raised the way that the other sloths were. This guy he is captive bred by an ethical, responsible breeder. But that guy's breeding for zoos that are just putting them in display enclosures. So they're not oriented to people the way that our other ones are. And that's okay. But this particular encounter that we're doing, this was 2 years in the making. Because you can make an animal eat from your hand, just don't give it any other food, and it will have to eventually, right? Yeah. But in my opinion, that would make it an adversarial relationship. You have what I need, and I'm going to get it. Yeah. So instead of that, what we did is he got his full food every day, and I just would pick up pieces out of his bowl where he could eat it anyway, and offer it to him. It took basically a year until he would prefer to eat from my hand than from the dish. And then it took another several months till he was comfortable eating from strangers' hands. That guy thinks he's going to jump into the heat vent down there. They really like it hot. So now he's trying to turn around and he's got himself stuck.
Do you have a favorite animal here? I mean, I know
Abu
it's like...
the camel.
Okay.
Abu is my baby boy.
Is Abu the first one that we saw?
Second one.
Second.
The dorky one.
The dorky one.
Yeah. No, he'll get out of there in a while. Fish.
What kind of fish?
and cichlids, mainly. And there's some barb fish in there too. So that our tank upstairs sprung a leak, and the fish are temporarily down here until we get our tank upstairs fixed. So right now what's upstairs is baby sulcata tortoises and albino iguana, and we're working on getting that converted to a frog tank. But yeah, like poison dart frogs that aren't poisonous. And hey Bubba, you ready for your treat food? All right, you're good. So his favorite thing are green beans, and then his most favorite thing of all is banana. Hey, Bubba, there you go, good boy. So,
Listen to his little crunch, it's so cute.
yeah, well, it's cute and it's not cute. So, a lot of sloth encounters pull their sloth's teeth because they don't want him to be able to bite you, but look how big his teeth are when he opens his mouth,
They're
right?
very big.
Yeah, if you were a believer in the evolution idea of things, you could come up with some crazy notions about a sloth with the giant teeth and the huge claws and the long, powerful arms and the long, powerful legs. If you dug up the skeleton of one of these things and didn't know what it was, you could come up with some pretty crazy apex predator ideas. But you wouldn't come up with a slow, peaceful creature idea based on his skeleton.
That's okay. They're just trying to.
Come here, bud.
What's his name?
His name is Franklin,
Franklin. Oh.
and that one's Fiona.
Look like you see stuff.
There you go, Franklin.
So, slow in their movement, slow in their digestion, slow in their metabolism. So we said they metabolize their food very thoroughly, but very slowly, and they're eating very low quality food, which makes them have very little energy, and that's a big part of what makes sloths so doggone slow. So they're,
There you go. I think he's ready now. Just give him a minute between bites.
so their energy budget is very low, and some specific examples of that beyond how they move is they do not have enough energy to maintain their body temperature. A sloth's body temperature is whatever the outside air temperature is. They also, even though they're mammals, can only feed their babies with milk for about 3 to 6 weeks, and that's it. They just don't have enough energy to make milk for any longer than that. The sloths are slow and they live a long time. So about the teeth, because the animal is going to live in the rainforest for 20 years and he doesn't own a toothbrush, he has no enamel on the outsides of his teeth. So his teeth wear down. As you're hearing him going, his teeth are sharpening against each other. So he has no enamel on the outside of his teeth, and his teeth grow throughout his life. He doesn't get replacement teeth, but his teeth grow forever and sharpen against each other, so he always has big, strong teeth ready to chew up some food.
Would you or do you plan on breeding them? I mean, would it make sense?
Who knows? I mean, they're the same breed of animal. He's a male, she's a female. But it just depends if we ever decide to be a breeding facility. We currently are not. But if
There is a baby on site, right?
yeah, and if she was going to breed with another animal, it probably would be the baby that we just got. They're closer in age, and we know more about the genetics of those animals than we do about this animal. This guy was ethically bred. He is captive bred, but the guy doesn't. The guy who breeds him doesn't keep lineage charts on them.
Yeah.
The other two, we know for several generations, every animal on their pedigree. And we know that they are genetically unrelated, so we know for sure that they are appropriate to breed. But we don't currently have any particular plans around sloth breeding. Who knows, I didn't have any plans to own a sloth 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, so.
So what was your profession before you said this was retirement?
Well, I'm retired from the Navy,
Okay.
and so I was enlisted the first 10 years. Nuke, machinist mate, chemistry, radiation controls, and human radiation exposure. And then I flew E2C Hawkeyes till I retired. But I retired early because I had cancer in '01. And then I was a contractor. I built houses for a little while. And main reason I was a contractor is because he'll knock the chair right over, sweetheart. The main reason that I was a contractor was because I was an apartment landlord for college kids at Old Dominion University, and my biggest expense from year to year outside of mortgages was repairs, because college kids are pretty hard on stuff.
Yeah.
And then we moved here to be retired, but didn't.
But
Yeah.
it looks like you're probably having fun.
I enjoy what I do. I work ridiculous hours, but I like what I do, and I get to talk to an awful lot of people.
Yeah.
And as I said, my number one goal is to glorify the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and I get a chance to talk to an awful lot of people about that.
Yeah.
Arturo's gonna hit Charlotte.
If he's still got some beans left in to show them to him, and I want to eat them.
He's gentle.
He does.
She is gentle.
She, he.
I'm trying to get past him.
If you just hold it up, he'll reach down for it.
On his arm.
Say, hey, Flash. So all of those claws all over the fronts and backs of their legs are because if they were in the wild, in the wintertime, what they would do would be dig 10 or 12 feet straight down underground and hang out down there until the spring. Here, that's not such a great idea. Tennessee is prone to sinkholes, and if you have them dig 10 feet down underground, when they come out on a really shallow angle. So you'd have tunnels all through your entire petting farm, and you'd end up with,
Yeah.
so it wouldn't be any good. So these guys come inside in the wintertime. They have a tortoise house in the petting farm that has a heated floor, and that keeps them good down to about 40 degrees. Lower than 40, they come indoors. Actually, next week it's supposed to get up into the 60s
I
again,
know.
so they're
Exciting.
gonna be outside. Might even, I don't know, they might go out today. What's the low tonight?
I think it's supposed to be back down in the 40s, but today it's supposed to be like 65.
Really?
Yeah.
So I think when we get done here, I'm gonna take these tortoises outside for a while.
Not hungry for him?
Tortoises are other animals that are a little bit quicker than I imagined that they were. If you were driving in and you saw the White House on the other side of the street, I once accidentally left the gate open, and that tortoise in 1 hour was across the street at the top of the hill at that White House on the other side of the street.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and
That's
still
so
that's
cool.
only half of 1 mile an hour,
Yeah.
but you don't really think about your
Yeah.
tortoise just walking
Yeah.
off.
So, because of the timing with this and our other child and their school and all of that, you know, we really liked that we could do this at 10.
Yeah.
But I saw that you guys do like a full farm tour, usually at 3 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
What does that entail in case we wanted to come back one day and do that?
So it's like this, up close and personal with all of the animals. We start out up in the petting farm, and you see goats and sheep and pot-bellied pigs, and there's the world's friendliest turkey up there, and these tortoises are usually in the petting farm. And then if they add on pony rides, we go from petting farm to pony rides, and then we go see ponies and miniature horses, then all the outside birds with geese and swans and so forth, and llamas and alpacas. And then we come through the exotic animal barn, and we see coatimundis and baby llama, baby alpaca, and then I can't show you everything we have in any given tour, but the rest of the tour may entail things like sugar gliders and micro squirrels and hedgehogs and iguana, 5 foot long iguana, and
Whoa.
big dude that I take out and bring him to you.
It's like bigger than
And bearded dragon
Okay,
and
so
leopard
it would be
geckos,
fun
and
to come back one day when we could be here for that.
it's our most popular event on the
Okay.
farm.
Okay.
And this is the hardest thing to book, is the sloths. Actually, if you were trying to book Friday or Saturday right now, I think
Betty.
Where they made all the nukes
Yeah.
and did all the research for them.
So I'll show you how to feed him. But he definitely knows his routine, as you can see.
He's ready.
So Flash doesn't, their eyesight is really poor, so he can't see the difference between this and this. So make sure that you're not doing that. Because he'll just put it right in his mouth. And so you can just hold it, and then he'll just kind of like vacuum it on up. If he goes to reach with his little claw, it might just fall out of his hand because he can't really hold on to it. Yeah, exactly. So just go straight from the mouth on that. And yeah, so I'll set that here, and you can feed him. You can pet him and touch him. You can take as many pictures and videos as you want. So he is very used to being touched. That's totally fine.
How long have y'all had him?
I know he's 5 years old, and how long have we had him?
3 years.
3 years.
Oh my goodness, you're so handsome.
And you can get, so like another, if you want to do pictures, I can do pictures for you too. But like selfies, you know, you can feed him like this, and then take a picture. You can get really close to him like this. That's totally fine.
Can I take him home, maybe? Is that okay?
Sneak him in your bag on the way out.
I'm sure my mom won't mind.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Flash is a two-toed sloth, and so like John was talking about, you know, they've got 2 toes or digits here in front, and then you can see it from the back, but he's got 3 in the back there hooked around. So all sloths have 3 toes in the back, and 2 toe obviously have 2 in the front. 3 toes have 3 in the front. He's 5 years old, and his main diet is, like what we're feeding him today is green beans, squash, yellow and green squash, raw sweet potato. He does like bananas.
So healthy balanced diet.
Yep, mostly veggies. He does like bananas and mangoes, but with sloths you have to really limit the amount of sugar that they have because it messes up their gut digestion. So he's predominantly vegetables. And then he also likes spinach leaves. He'll eat about every 12 hours, which is about this quantity.
Every 12 hours.
He weighs about 14 to 15 pounds, depending on where he's at in his poop cycle. So,
Fair
I know,
enough,
right? Are we bloated or not? So sloths in the wild would go poop once every 2 weeks. In captivity here, he's eating a lot more, and so it's going to go about every 7 to 10 days. And they actually lose a third of their body weight when they do poop, and it's a poop and pee combined. So they
kind
don't.
of like reptiles.
Yeah. Do reptiles have a poo and pee combined?
Yeah.
I'm not super
It's
familiar with
like it's
reptiles.
like a
This
weird
is like
sack.
all in one. Yeah. So his poop, let's talk about poop. So his poop, it comes out in one big mass, but it's individual little ball, almost like goat poop. So like individual balls in one mass. And so anyway, when that happens, it's about a third of his body weight. And Zoe, who you'll see after we get done with Flash, you can really see it. He looks, I mean, because he's just so much bigger.
Yeah.
But her belly gets really bloated looking.
Yeah.
But her belly gets really bloated looking. She looks like a little Buddha when she's getting closer to the end of her poop cycle. And she starts looking a little bigger and bigger and bigger. So Flash is fully grown. They mature sexually and also kind of reach peak weight, size, etc. about 3 years old.
This is the best thing.
Crunch, crunch, crunch. And if you want, I can take pictures of you while you're feeding him. So yeah, why not? Yeah, get it all set up for me.
I don't know how to work phones. Here we go.
There we go.
You're just so cute. I always see videos of people like saving them on the road and stuff. And I
Yeah.
always think, why can't that happen to me in Tennessee?
Somebody save you on the side of the road.
Yeah.
I wonder the same thing.
You can't just pick one up and save it.
Let's see, what else? So sloths are unique in the way that their temperature needs to be, like their environment needs to be between 78 and 85 degrees ideally. So they definitely like it warm. They're, come from the rainforest. And if their temperature is not kept correctly, they can have their digestive system actually shuts down. And it's one of the few, or I don't know about one of the few, but he's an animal that could actually die with a full stomach because their digestion is not processing the food. Like you could be feeding them every day, and if the temperature is not correct, they would die in about a week, which is crazy.
That's
You think you're
sad.
doing your job, keeping them fed, and
Yeah.
next thing you know, gonzo.
What is the little critter running? Is that?
Oh yeah, so I'll show you, that's our three-banded armadillo. He's just the cutest little thing.
I know so much about armadillos.
He is,
I just
really
keep seeing
cute.
him running.
I
I'm
know,
like,
he's looking for his breakfast because I didn't get his breakfast in there yet this morning. There you go. So this is Baku, and he is our three-banded armadillo. And he's actually the only armadillo species that completely balls up like this, where so that's his head and that's his tail. Other armadillos have a lot longer tail and will kind of stick out a little bit, but he's a complete little circle. And you can, so this is actually his skin.
Can I touch it?
Mm-hmm.
oh my gosh.
And so he's got little hairs on the backside
Yeah.
there.
I'm so sorry, Flash. I'm neglecting you.
And I think he looks like a little, we should have named him Tater because he looks like a little baked potato running around on the ground.
So my sister is in Georgia. Look at him.
I know. It looks like a little russet potato.
But she has, I don't know which species they are, but they're bigger. And so I saw one, and so then I went on a huge fact checking thing about
Yeah.
them. They're so cute.
I think they are too. But he's one of my favorite, come here you, one of my favorite animals here. Let's see if we can get him to
Hi, buddy.
relax a little bit. I gotta hold him and so chill. There we go. So he's got these little, so they also have two toes in the front, so they're actually in the same family as sloths.
Yeah.
I know you think you're stuck. And he's got these little, their hearing is really good and their sense of smell is excellent, but their eyesight is really poor. He's trying to, he's like, he thinks he's stuck, so he's trying to ski-doodle. You're trying to ski-doodle. I know.
Take a picture.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, he's like, I got
I know.
mine.
I gotta hold him still so he'll relax.
This is crazy. Who would have thought on a Thursday we'd be
Mhm.
doing this? Hi, buddy.
There we go.
You ready to run around?
Mm-hmm. There you go.
He's so cute. know, I'm so sorry, I've been neglecting.
I always laugh when a sloth tells you to hurry up. It's like, you know, you're really slow. That's one thing they do like to do somewhat fast is to eat.
Hey, I don't blame you. You got things to do.
Yeah, we like eating. So a sloth's main predator is a harpy eagle. They're the largest eagle in the world. And so sloths have two main defenses. Is they will, so as the eagle's soaring above the treetops, they'll look for movement in the trees.
Mm-hmm.
And so their defense is moving really slow because they can't get spotted.
Okay.
So their slowness actually really works into their advantage on that. And another defense of theirs is if they did get spotted, they would, you know, like let's say the eagle flew down and landed on the branch and they need to get away quickly. Well, they can't move fast enough to do that. So what they would do is actually just fall out of the tree on purpose to get away.
Hey, if it works, it works.
Yeah, just free fall and land on the ground. And then the eagle, the jungle's so thick, eagle can't get down there.
To get him.
Yeah, and then even if the eagle did, he's opening himself up to other ground predators.
Yeah.
And so he just gives up at that point. So then the sloth will, you know, slowly crawl and then back up the tree and off he goes. And there's been research done that sloths actually, either intentionally or unintentionally, fall out of trees at least once a week in the wild.
You know what?
Like, what a rough life.
Yeah.
You're just sitting there eating your leaves and boom.
Fall.
They are really good climbers though.
Just
and
not good at staying in the tree.
Yeah.
Got it.
Their bodies are, they actually don't really have a whole lot of fat to them. So that's why their temperature needs to be kept just right, because their fur and is not for insulation purposes. Their fur is actually for camouflage and to create a little mini environment for insects that live on him. So there is a sloth moth that specifically lives on sloths. Say that 10 times fast. And so what they'll do, so anyway, when a sloth does go poop, they come down the exact same tree. So they don't poop up in the trees, they come down, which I don't know why. You stay up there where you're safe, but they come down the tree and they poop in the exact same spot every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And the moth will actually lay their eggs in the sloth poop, and then the adults will live in their fur and things like that. And so anyway, when the sloth comes down, the eggs hatch and then they'll transfer up onto the sloth, and then the cycle just kind of keeps repeating every 2 weeks.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep. Sloth moth. Are we almost out? I'm gonna say we might need some more green beans. Green beans are definitely a favorite. We got plenty of them.
I thought the fur would be a lot coarser.
I know, that's always the reaction of like, you'd think it'd be a lot wiry-er, but they're actually pretty soft. So you've probably seen pictures of them where they have like algae and moss growing on them. So obviously they don't, because they're not exposed to the elements like they are in the wild. But the one, it's camouflage purposes to blend in with the tree. And then the thing with the moss, they live in all of that, but it's every time the sloth would groom themselves or lick their fur, there's actually bacteria, good bacteria in there that helps their gut digestion as well. So it's a mutual benefit relationship there. So hanging like this is his relaxed state.
So he likes me.
So this wouldn't be, like, this is not effort. Oh, I mean, other than eating,
Yeah.
but hanging there like that does not take effort. Like how their claws are like this, or
Yeah.
toes, that would be actually relaxed, so I'll just throw that one away. And so it doesn't take the effort actually comes from them opening up their hands to reach for something. That would be effort. But just sitting there like this is not. And you might notice he's got a little snot drip going on there. So it's actually good that they have a snotty nose like that. You don't want their nose to be dried out. So that means that his humidity and temperature is good. The other day when he was out here, he had 2 little snot drips. I'm like, we're really getting good today, huh? Little snot nose. Sloths are born with teeth.
Ooh, that's terrifying.
Yeah, and you, so when they're born, they attach right to mom as soon as they're born. And they start eating hard, like leaves and foliage as soon, I think it was early as like 4 days old. They're still nursing on mom up until 4 weeks, but they are actually already eating leaves as early as 4 days, which is a lot different than most mammals.
Yeah.
Usually they're nursing for a very long time before they would have any kind of other food. So Flash, as you can see, like we can touch him and feed him and everything like that. He doesn't like to be held though. He wasn't raised used to being held. So when we do Zoe's encounter, you'll see a big difference is she really likes being held.
She likes to cuddle.
Yes, because that's how she was raised from very, very early age. So you'll see stuff, you know, like online that you shouldn't touch sloths and they don't like it and etc. Which is true in the context of you shouldn't touch wild animals.
Yeah.
So they just kind of forgot to throw in that part there. Obviously you can see that Flash is not stressed out by this by any means, because this is very normal for him. But, and same thing, like people will pick up turtles because they're just slow, but it's still a wild animal. We shouldn't be picking up turtles and tortoises either, because it's a wild animal and it messes up their, you know, what they're doing. So Flash enjoys his breakfast and being hand fed, so this is definitely.
So when he comes out here, do y'all bring him out here, or does he come?
He comes out on his own.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, and then when we're done with him, I'll open up the door and we can watch him crawl back in. But he has a 2-story enclosure there with Mr. Baku running around. And so he's got a hammock up there that he sleeps in that he really enjoys.
Living the dream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, his enclosure is pretty cool. The other day when I was doing an encounter with him, he just like paused and didn't move at all, didn't blink, then was like, and I'm like, you thinking there, buddy? Like a deep thought. So another thing also unique about sloths is every time they open and close their mouth, their teeth are rubbing up against each other. And so that they're sharpening every time that they do that they're opening and closing. So they are pretty sharp.
Little tongue so cute.
Mm-hmm. Packing it down. And so the other thing too is when they're born, they actually are born with this kind of leathery pad here. And so obviously that's so that they can hang on trees and it makes it a little easier for them. But that's the same on all 4. And so his are, obviously he's older, so they're a little bit more leathery feeling. The babies, it feels like our skin, so it's really soft, or like the inside of your arm type soft.
And how old is she?
So Zoe just turned a year old on Monday.
Oh. Happy birthday.
I know. So we had a little party for her, and actually we just made a new enclosure for her, which we're still getting. We're gonna paint the leaves green and stuff like that. But so this is her holding enclosure, and she's got a hammock in there, and we're gonna build it. So actually, in the future, we'll be doing her encounters in here when you put the shavings down and stuff still. But we'll have a bench that just pulls out right there, so that way we can be right in her environment and do encounters.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that'll be exciting too. What are some other fun facts that I'm forgetting, Kevin?
Fun facts. So you know when she was talking about when the sloth falls, so part of the reason that they can survive that fall is the ribs. Did you talk about that?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So they have 46 ribs, and their internal organs are actually attached to their ribs. So you know normally when you get in a car wreck or something, you get hurt because your organs are moving around.
Yeah.
With him and all sloths, the organs are actually attached to the ribs, so that prevents that impact, that double impact.
Wow. That's creepy to think about a little bit.
Kind of weird. That's so they can hang upside down and like that,
Yeah.
and things aren't getting pressure from, like we did, all of our guts would be like, bleh.
It's just crazy to think about how different
Yeah.
everything's bodies can be.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, did we
Pause.
skip?
I know.
I was like, everybody stopped talking, there was no
Matrix.
sound.
That's what you did the other day. You just totally like stopped and like, we okay there, buddy?
Yeah.
Those two little brain cells are just working overtime. Spinning like crazy. Yeah, that's what he did. Just totally paused. Like, I gotta think about it.
I promise it's the same stuff you've been eating.
I know. Are we done, Flash? What are you thinking if you're done? It's like, oh, yeah, I'm okay, I decided. Takes a little bit of time to think about all that.
Oh my gosh, he's just so cute.
Yeah. So his fur kind of goes this way, and then he's got a little bit of a little cowlick here on his backside. But two-toed sloths don't have tails, so this is just all smooth here. So it's just kind of his little cowlick. And then when we see Zoe, she's got a little, looks like a little bunny tail poof right here. So it kind of looks like a tail, but it's not. It's just her little cowlick.
Can I pet him while he's
Yeah, yeah, you can touch him.
I'm so scared I'm gonna accidentally hurt him.
I know. Yep, no, you're good.
He said, yeah, I'm done, thanks.
Yeah, so like if he was, so obviously he just comes out here to eat, so a lot of people see the videos and there's this one branch and like, oh, he needs more room to move around. I'm like, well, yeah, there's a lot of room in there. This is just so he's comfortable out here hanging out with us. He needs something to hold on to. Baku. Trying to escape. Running around. What do you think, Flash?
I'll see if Tony's out here. If he is, I'll go and move that chair with him.
Okay. Yeah, so we're gonna do Zoe's encounter in here. So we'll have, oh, that's right. So I'm gonna wait to open the door for Flash because we're gonna move like a big sitting chair in here and then have Zoe in here so that way you can have pictures with both sloths at the same time.
He wants his buddy back. So is it only him and Flash in there?
Yeah. What are you doing, little nugget? Don't trip on the potato.
That'll work. That is a little potato.
So he'll actually get the size of a soccer ball. So he's about 8 months old right now.
Oh, he's just a little baby.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it can go back a little bit.
I love little.
I know. His little high heels. We still need to do that, like a side-by-side picture of a baked potato with a little toothpick stuck in it with like Barbie boots or something, you know, for like little booties. And do a side-by-side of like who wore it better,
What's
potato
that?
or Baku.
What's that song? It's like these boots are made for walking.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, these boots
are made for walking. And that's just what they'll do. Or what's the other one? New boot goofing.
Well, if you was a girl, I would do the pretty letter. You know, that'd be awesome. Is
I'm just goofing. New boot
John
goofing.
bringing Zoe down?
Yeah. Yeah, so he'll like get into your shoes and laces.
That's fine, buddy.
Yeah, likes to try and get into the pant leg thinking that there's something in
No treats. I'm sorry.
there. Yep. Got any worms in there? That's what he's looking for.
Fresh out.
Yep.
That tickles.
And yeah, you can
bud.
touch him if you want.
That tickles.
You might, but like obviously that's his normal reaction. So, but you
Oh,
can
yeah.
touch him as much as you want. That's totally fine.
I can't say I've ever had this happen before.
The armadillo at your feet,
Yep. Trying to get
digging
mine.
at your shoes.
The kangaroos are even worse.
Oh yeah, they'll chew on your laces and pants.
Sorry.
No, you're good, you're good. Juggling act for sure.
So are you two kind of the people in charge of the sloths?
I'll do a lot of the sloth encounters, and I've been doing a lot of Zoe's, the baby sloth too. Kevin does all of our social media, and so he's a little bit everywhere,
Yeah.
but he's a wealth of knowledge when it comes to animal stuff. I've been here about 4 weeks now, so I'm still learning a lot of stuff, so that's why I'm like, what am I forgetting, Kevin?
But she's doing great. There's a lot to know.
There's a lot.
But we're making it easier.
Yeah, I have like little flashcard things.
See? What are you doing, buddy?
Hey, Flash. Hey, buddy. What you doing?
You want to hold him?
Okay.
Put your hands like a little cup. There you go.
Yeah.
And then Fallon will be right there.
Heavier.
Yeah.
I thought.
I don't know how much he weighed. We'd have to weigh him, but
I feel like he's definitely gained weight.
yeah.
I know.
And if he just hold really still, then he'll kind of open up a little bit. And if he does that little jerk thing where he tries to bounce backwards, that he's just trying to.
Be free.
Yeah, exactly. So you're not doing anything wrong when he does that. Just make sure you got a hold of him. The little nose. Yeah, their eyesight is really bad, and so they just kind of. We'll let him run around in the hallway of the barn, and he just bumps into stuff and the doors and everything. Give us
You
your
like
legs.
to
Hi, Baku. I like your little nose.
I'll be right back. Maybe John will be here soon.
Try and put him down.
Yeah.
How? Does
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll figure it out. Yep. Little roly poly. Yeah, Baku, and then I would say we have a turkey. His name's Thomas. Is another one of my favorite animals over
Oh.
here. And you can pick the turkey up.
You can pick that.
Yeah, he's so friendly. He'll just follow you around everywhere.
That's cute. This would be an awesome job to have. This
Yeah.
would be so cool.
I really enjoy it.
Too bad I'm like an hour and a half away.
Yeah. So the name Three Banded is the three bands right here, obviously. So in North America we have, I think it's an 8 banded armadillo, so 1, 2, 3. But, so the ones that we have here are a little bit different. Then there's something called a screaming armadillo, or a
Yeah.
screeching armadillo or
Move it
something.
just back just a tad, don't
And I guess they're really annoying. So we didn't get one of those.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. We don't need any critters constantly screeching around.
And then I know that there's.
Hi, Zoe.
Good morning. Star of the show time.
Do I see
Meaning
that?
her, not meaning